We're back in the woods, and if you've seen the last video, I built up a new bike because I had a day off, which meant that my bike was fair game to be sold. For some reason, it's a stupid game we've got going on. But it meant that I could go on an absolute shopping spree in the shop and build myself this, which is my new Levo SL, which I've spec'd out with some components that I love, and actually I've got some new stuff that I haven't ridden before, so it'll be quite a good test to kind of get it in the woods. But first of all, we need to talk about the changes I've made to the bike. I got bullied into putting things on my bike that I didn't want, and I thought some of the parts would be a little bit overkill or not quite right for it, but I've essentially swapped the saddle back to the Specialized Mimic saddle, which I have actually ridden on the way here and is super comfortable. I've gone for a Fox 36 in gold because I was wheeling the bike back to the workshop and I saw it on the wall and I thought there hasn't been a better fork to go on this bike with the gold decals and the Kashima seat post. It just looks awesome, and it's slightly lighter, a bit of a lighter fork, same damper, but it'd be interesting to set that up because I haven't done one of these new Grip X dampers either, so I'll have a little play with that. What else have I done? One of the things that's a little bit of a sort of suspension tuner's trick, if you like, is I fitted a progressive spring. This is an MRP progressively wound spring. You can see that these coils here are closer together, so they become coil bound quicker than the other coils, effectively giving it two different rates or a progression of rates. So this is actually plus 20%. This gives me 20% more progression in the bike. And the bike, for those suspension geeks out there, the progression percentage of this bike is around 22%, something like that. So I'm now effectively up at 32, which is more like it suits itself better for kind of a coil spring. So you can do that artificially with a progressive spring like I've done. MRP very kindly sent me one out, so thank you very much for that. I've done a couple of bits to the shock as well to assist the shock. Again, that's a plush suspension tweak from the Plush Suspension Workshop, who are based at Brink. And that is one of my loves. If you've watched the channel, I love tweaking suspension. I love getting it just right. So today I'm gonna start the setup process. I've already done sag. That's how I got the calculation for the spring rate that I needed to give me the sag percentage that I personally like, which is usually around 31 to 32%. I like the bike to sag a little bit more than a lot of people. And then I lean on the dampers more, the hydraulic side of the shock, to kind of slow it down and control it. So today will be just about the hydraulic settings of the bike. The pneumatic and the coil sprung side of the bike is all done. I've done that in the shop, and I've had a ride on this already and it feels okay, but I need to get it to feel unbelievable, which is how it should feel. So come with me, let's go riding, set up the bike, and hopefully be stoked on my awesome looking new bike. Right, so here we go. Let's see if that puts my weight a little bit further rearward, because I've gone for a 450 to 520 pound spring from a 500. Other things to mention, I've put the head angle in the slack position. I had it in the middle position before, so that will also promote my weight a little bit backwards on the bike, which I like. So today is about suspension settings and noodling. So currently I have got the low speed and high speed compression wound off, completely off, and I've just got a few clicks of rebound on the fork and the shock, just getting it into sort of a more comfortable position before I start really dialing it in. But let's hit these tracks a little harder and see how everything works. I'm going to be concentrating on that front rear balance of the bike, because before it wasn't very good with the 500 pound spring, and that feels much better with a progressive spring. Went a bit quicker then, and bike's feeling much better. So just that change just makes the bike feel a little bit more balanced. My weight's a little bit more middle towards the back, and I'm not all pitched over the front, which I was before when I came for my first little scoot round the woods. What I tend to do there when I'm setting a bike up is you can consider low speed compression your body weight affecting the bike. So in corners where there's lots of slow inputs into the bike or between jumps, you can actually tune out how much the bike squats under your body weight with low speed. High speed is bump compliance basically. So the more high speed damping you run, high speed compression damping, the less the focal shock will move when you hit a bump. Now that is a very simplified view of high speed and low speed, but from what I can feel after those two runs, especially that last one where I pushed on a bit, is that I'm now feeling that the fork is diving a little bit. So I'm just going to bring high speed compression on a bit and bring the low speed on a bit. Now I'm not counting clicks. I don't really believe you need to count clicks that much for compression anyway. It can be very much track specific compression. Some tracks that you know very well, you know where the bumps are, and you're really pushing into those bumps, you tend to run more high speed as you learn the track. So let's attack that again with a bit more compression on the fork. See how we go. Wow. Okay. Okay. It definitely, I mean, it could be me, of course, just messing a turn up, but just those extra clicks of compression put more pressure on the front wheel, and I pushed the front wheel in the corner. So in my mind, there's two ways to look at it. I can either ride around the issue or come back a little bit on compression, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go back 2 clicks and back 1 click of high speed. I do need to look at rebound as well. If I'm finding that the front end of the fork is diving, sometimes it can be that your rebound on the fork is too slow. It's holding on to the fork under compression. So now I've gone backwards on low speed compression, I can start to look at low speed rebound. But let's do some more runs. Leave ourselves feeling awesome. I'm feeling unfit. I've already reviewed this bike, so go check out our review. So I'm not going to talk too much about the bike. Today's about the shakedown and making sure I'm in the right spot. So let's do that track again. Try not to overspeed that corner again. That one, that's better. Much better. So this is all just my opinion, of course, but I've been doing this a while. I do trust what I'm feeling. It's a very personal thing, suspension setup, but you can have suspension that's more right or more wrong. So it's worth doing this sort of stuff. If I had telemetry equipment, it'd be interesting, but running telemetry at our local woods is probably a little overkill. So I've made no changes this time because I felt comfortable on that last run. So it's more a case of just trying to ride in those settings. Oh, I made a mistake. So I am possibly splitting hairs at this point, but I like doing this kind of stuff. It's fun. So 2 runs ago, I had 3 clicks of high speed on, I think 5 of low speed, and a mount. And on this flat corner here, where it just flattens out a little bit, it's a bit more of a slow corner where you have to have patience. You can't smash into something. You have to kind of allow the corner to come to you. You have to be quite patient. I was finding that the front was pushing. So maybe that was me being impatient and not just flowing the corner around. Maybe it's tyre pressure, maybe it's slack head angle because it's a flat corner. But for me, the only things I can adjust right now are compression. So I came back on compression. I took the clicks back towards being fully open by a click or 2, I think. I did 1 click of high speed, 2 of low speed. And what that does is just take some pressure off the tyre in a low speed corner like that you're having to kind of be patient with and not push the tyre too much. Take some pressure off and just allows the front wheel to sort of track around the corner better. And it actually worked. That corner didn't work afterwards, the second run, because I was being impatient. And something you have to do with these loam tracks is link your turns and kind of think ahead. And I'm trying to do too much and comment and stuff. So maybe I'll do a run without talking and just concentrate a bit more. But yeah, wicked track. Bike feels amazing. I like the changes. The spring feels really good, but I think we need to go to the bike park to double check that. But yeah, let's keep going. So this time I'm going to make a change. I'm going to speed up my rebound. Now on this fork, the Grip X, I don't have adjustable high speed. I think you only get that on the 38s and the Fox 40. But to be honest, every 36, 40, 38 I've ever set up tend to run full high speed anyway, which makes the fork feel a bit more controlled off those bigger hits. But I'm speeding the rebound up because I want to see what it feels like. So I've gone 2 clicks faster. Fast rebound, if you can get away with it, is generally better because the fork comes back to full extension faster, which means you've got more fork travel available more of the time, if that makes sense. But of course, it gets to a point where it's too fast and you start getting feedback, and then the front end feels too lively, out of control. So let's see what that's done. Whoa! Lost the front end in that last corner, but that wasn't suspension, that was just me. Like I say, I've done a review on this bike already. One of the original super light e-bikes, and it's perfect for this type of riding, just doing laps, having fun. So one thing I haven't done is touch the shock. Currently open on low speed compression, rebounds on 5. Like I say, the spring is 450 to 520 progressive. Feels fine. I don't think I need any more low speed. Maybe in the bike park, let's see. But if I'm running none of an adjuster, kind of makes it pointless. Maybe I need to look at tuning to open the damper up, so that I can use more of the clicks. So that's a whole other episode, but let's just ride the bike again. So we're heading to the bike park now. I think I've learned everything I could about the bike, how it feels in the loams, but that setup isn't necessarily going to work for something bumpier, bermier or jumpier. So I'm going to head to the bike park and just check the settings there, do a few different tracks. Like I say, last time the rear shock was bottoming out, so I'm hoping that my little changes I did to the shock internally and the progressive spring is going to make the bike feel a bit more balanced. Let's see. So we're in Chicksands Bike Park now, and I thought I'd just go through the difference in setup for setting a bike up for kind of bumps and loam tracks to more bike park stuff where there's a bit more support in the corners and you're going in and out of jumps and things like that, a bit bumpier. There's two things that make a big difference. One is tyre pressure, just go up in tyre pressure. There's more support in the corners anyway, so you don't need as much grip, and it will roll faster. It will give you free speed. And the other thing is low speed compression. If you run more low speed compression, the bike doesn't squat so much under your body weight. It will stand up more, there'll be more support. So in those sections where you don't want the bike to wallow and push through its travel to promote grip, because we're in the bike park, you don't really need it, we can sort of dial more resistance into the bike from my body weight. So that will give us pop off of jumps, it will support us in the corners, and the bike won't be so wallowy, we won't lose lots of speed. So I'd imagine with the setup I've got here, it's going to feel too soft in the bike park, and we'll probably bottom the rear shock out, maybe. I don't know, we've got the progressive spring, so let's see how that feels. Way undercleared that. So just finished doing lines in the pines. That's kind of got lots of jumps on it really, and the setup I've now got for that is perfect. A little bit more low speed compression in the bike, a little bit less high speed compression, stop the front wheel from sliding on those flatter turns, and just gives you a little bit more support, a little bit more speed. You can pump down the landings and stuff to get speed. Now I'm going to test something different, which is more bermy, corners and drops and bumps. And for that, I think I'm going to need to come off low speed compression, just so it squats a bit more in the corners to give me a bit of grip. But I'm going to have to go up on high speed compression on the fork to resist those bigger hits I'm going to be pushing into. I'll need support in the fork. So that's how I would personally set a bike up for something a bit bumpier. If you disagree, do comment, let me know. It's quite a fascinating conversation, this. It's very much personal preference as well, but this will be a good starting point for setting the bike up for bumpy tracks. I'll try this and I'll see if I'm right or wrong. That last track wasn't as bumpy as I remember. There's one kind of big push and a couple of little bumps in the middle, but not really representative of what I wanted. There is stuff out in the woods, but we're running out of light, energy and battery. But that's essentially me sort of getting the bike right in my mind, noodling a bit, twiddling with dials. And hopefully I've explained my process in what I do to dials to change the bike's characteristics on the trail. We haven't actually changed rebound much at all today. For me, rebound is very much set and forget once you've got it right, whereas compression, like I've hopefully shown, can be track specific, condition specific. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. The only reason I did it is because someone sold my bike. So my mission is to sell Steve's bike before he gets back off holiday.